Do you want to give the audience a background of your previous life as a rep?
So we're going to have to go back in time a little bit, but I began my career in the pharmaceutical industry in 2001 as a sales representative for Schering-Plough. I used to sell Schering-Plough's products to primary care and secondary care physicians, and my territory, or patch as we used to call it, was North Wiltshire and Oxfordshire.
What regular challenges did you face as a rep?
I think, like most reps, the biggest challenge was always access. Particularly at that time, Oxfordshire was a particularly difficult territory in which to try and access customers. But I think some of the other challenges included how to really get customers engaged in sales calls. I think other challenges included we used to share a territory back in those days, so there were 4 other reps that from Schering-Plough that were calling on the same customers, and depending on how good we were or weren't at capturing call notes, we wouldn't always know what our colleagues had spoken about with their customers. And indeed, sometimes, particularly with secondary care customers, they may have well spent time with our marketing team, and again, we didn't always know what conversations had been held since we'd last spoken to the customer. So making sure that the conversations flowed and continued and that we were taking the customer on a relevant journey was always a little bit challenging.
What are the challenges for today's healthcare rep? What are we hearing from the market?
So I think access still remains a challenge, of course, and probably always will, particularly in the post-COVID world. The other challenges that we hear about are what can I do to really engage my customer when I'm talking to them, and what value-added services can I provide to my customers so that they really want to see me, and that every interaction I have with them is actually creating some value, is actually taking the customer on a journey towards a better understanding of the medicines that we're promoting, and therefore prescribing those medicines in the most appropriate manner to provide the best benefit for patients. We often get asked for ways in which we can bring sales materials to life, and I think one of the other challenges that reps have, a little bit like the challenges that I had in a kind of pre-digital world, where we were trying to understand what other conversations our customers had with other members of the team, I think the modern sales representative really wants to understand what else has my customer heard or seen, whether they've been on a website, whether they've been on a webinar, maybe they've been to a congress and been on the exhibition stand. So feeding back that information to the sales reps so that they really understand where their customer is on their journey with the product is very important in order for the representative to add the most value in their interactions.
How do you think effective digital would make a difference to today's rep?
So really, I think sales representatives should see digital as an ally that can really help them better understand their customer, whether that's through the capture of data from web activity or webinar attendance or congress attendance, and help the representative to use that information to then therefore tailor their conversations with the healthcare professional so that they're providing the information that the healthcare professional really wants and needs, in that moment.
What does a digital future hold for today's rep?
So I think what we'll see going forwards is the rep really becoming part of that omni-channel mix. So through good use of CRM, by connecting up the different channels that healthcare professionals engage with, whether that's a website or a chatbot or a congress that they've attended, and feeding all of that information back into the customer record, that will allow sales representatives to be able to understand where the healthcare professional is on their journey, and to be able to direct healthcare professionals during the call or post the call to the most relevant channels, the most relevant materials, the most relevant content that helps them to continue on their journey of learning around the product. So that could be, and we've seen a huge increase in approved email, for example, where post-call the representative can send an approved email, which maybe then connects the doctor out to registration for a learning event, a webinar, or perhaps takes the doctor to a website where they can find out more information, maybe access a budget impact model or something like that.
How can Earthware help?
So Earthware as a digital creative agency can certainly help marketing teams to develop more engaging interactive digital sales materials that support the conversations that representatives are having. One example of that is we've been building augmented reality details, sales materials for representatives to use to really enhance the sales call and perhaps bring some of the information to life for the customer, whether that's data visualization, whether that's case studies, really engaging and allowing the healthcare professional to interact with the content that the representative is sharing. Earthware also, as omnichannel experts, can really help pharmaceutical companies to connect those channels together so that the data flows seamlessly around the system, and therefore empowering representatives to know what content healthcare professionals have looked at, what channels their customers are accessing, and really join that picture up for the company as a whole, but also for the sales representatives, so that they really get a deep understanding of their customers' specific needs, specific wants, and can therefore support their customer better and add more value in all of their interactions.